The general idea of our conversation was about why there are not a lot of candidates running in the Democratic primary for president. It's good that we have one, but why do we have like a lack of very serious candidates? The answer is because we already have an incumbent, and it's unusual to run like a primary when you've already got the seat of one. You've already got the incumbent advantage. All you stand to do from the perspective of a party leader here is lose your advantage of incumbency going into the general election. I think the broader question is, why do we want there to be? In days past, it would have been there would have been lefties who were annoyed by the idea of primary candidates when we've already got the seat. My answer, my best guess, is that we're in the middle of a party flip. I think that Democrats on the world stage are center right, and progressives are getting real sick of having their ideas for how government ought to be run lightly nodded to by the center right politicians, and then never actually taken seriously once the campaign is over. And that's understandable to me. In fact, I've lived it, and the fury that builds is hard to put into words. So, if you're looking for some good news in all this, it's that I think I'm seeing signs that we're well on our way. What I believe is going to happen are the refugees from the Republican Party, those neoliberals who want to go back to just dog whistling racism, and giving gigantic tax breaks to big businesses. They are trying. They're migrating over slowly to the Democrats, and the Democrats, the centrist Democrats, those people who are happy to dog whistle fighting racism with their kente cloth and their what have you, but then just give giant tax breaks to big corporations. They're getting awful chummy, and these are the people who go on and on about how we might not agree on everything, but they're good people. They're getting awfully chummy. The interesting thing is that there is something that I didn't see happening that is a step in between these two becoming their own party, and probably for the sake of losing the bag, it's just calling it the Democratic Party. There's something that's happening, which is folks who are refugees from the right seem to be stopping off at what they call no labels. Here's Shark30Zero talking about it.
You know what? They're going to have to see us through our work.
Yeah, they're just gonna have to. You're just gonna have to. You're just gonna have to listen to us. I mean, just if you don't notice that we're instantly fleecing you, then is it really that big of a problem? Yes, it is. It is that big of a problem. It's a massive problem, and I should.
This guy is. I'd be shocked if I didn't babysit him at some point. And yet, look at that setup with the thing on the side. Dang it, I got to work on that. All right. He's about to go into, for the record, let me just tell you what he was talking about there. He was talking about the fact that that party, that group, let's say, they did not feel comfortable saying what they stood for or revealing where their money came from. And now he's going to look into who makes up this party, this no labels party. Who is in it?
Know everything about your organization. Everybody should, because it's in the public interest. You shouldn't be running for public office to be a public servant if I don't know exactly who you're serving. That's all I'm saying. I know.
Okay, I take it back. He was talking about the other thing, which I'm really proud of him for talking about, which is the fact that yes, we have allowed there to be laws that let people just hide who's giving them money. And my God, the kids are all right, huh? Yes, we should know who you're serving. But now he goes into what I want to hear.
Know you're serving somebody. Politicians are always serving somebody. Now, whether or not it's you is another question entirely. That's another question entirely. And I think that we should all know a little bit about that. That's just me, though. And I just think they're a bit strange. Because a lot of these, like, not left, not right, backwards type parties and PACs and political organizations that pop up usually are just weird. You know, usually when they're like, oh, I'm not left or right, you open the box and they're always right. It's kind of weird how that works out. They're always right wing. Kind of strange how that works out personally, but it seems like
gonna let him keep going in a moment, but yeah, that does keep happening. It's not just this group. There are multiple groups where they say, hey, we're not left or right, we're just here for sensible government, and then it turns out it's nothing but right-wingers. That, I believe, is a step before they're unifying. And what y'all are talking about in the comments on this very stream tells me that it's extraordinarily likely that the feelings are mutual. I mean, you're sick of being in a party with these folks, too. I'm Joe Manchin. I'm sick of being in a party with that guy. There's no reason we should be sharing campaign funds. When I say to donate, I don't usually say to donate to the Democratic Party because I think they're going to give their money to folks like Joe Manchin. I'm sick of it. We should not be in the same party. Kristen Sinema, she's been kicked out. Good. She does not belong in a party with the rest of us, but she still hangs out with Joe Manchin in public events. They're very much aligned, and they're not aligned with us. So a party switch, I feel, is coming. Break it down, Shark30Zero. I'm going to call him Sharky, and I want you to know it is out of respect because I keep getting his proper name wrong. And if he ever comes across this clip, he is Shark30Zero. Actually, you know what? That's not too hard. But if he ever comes across this clip, I welcome any correction he issues.
It seems like they're moving forward with this, whether or not they're going to tell you who's giving them money. And the Daily Beast made a really interesting article about this recently. No Labels launches controversial 2024 campaign with no ideas whatsoever. So if you're getting all of this money and you don't have any real concrete political ideas and you're a political organization, what do you think's going on there? There's something strange going on there, don't you think? Don't you think? The well-funded centrist group says that it plans to field a presidential candidate who will focus on substance, but its first big event was all style. New Hampshire, at their town hall event on Monday night, began with a historical, well-funded third-party presidential effort. The centrist group No Labels seems to have all the right ingredients in place. They had two bold-faced headliners, Joe Manchin and former Utah Governor Jon Huntsman, who floated supporting a third-party candidacy, or in Manchin's case, running himself. In the crowd at St. Anselm College, No Labels had a high wattage roster of guests, ranging from former North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory to former Representative Fred Upton, another Republican, and former Representative Joe Cunningham from South Carolina. Okay, sure, I guess, buddy. And even the popular Republican governor himself, Chris Sununu. Man, that's a lot of Republicans, don't you think? How many Democrats are here? 2? and it's Joe Manchin and Cunningham. Okay.
Do you see what I'm talking about? Do you see what I'm talking about when I say a party switch may be on the way? Not quite comfortable saying, let's be Democrats. Mood isn't right quite yet for that. Let's see what happens after 2024. Let's see what happens. If we are successful and we get, let's say, the House, Senate, and White House, and we start taking a page out of MAGA's book and harassing the people we put in power until they do the things we want them to do. And we harass like ladies and gentlemen, and we do things like protests and email writing campaigns and things like that. We start getting some progressive change. How much you want to bet that a lot of your whoever replaces Pelosi, your Schumers and your what have yous end up saying, I really feel more comfortable with the centrists. But by, of course, centrist, they mean the folks at No Labels. They mean people like that. To me, I think that's likely. It's just untenable to be a Republican in what calls itself the Republican Party these days. And for a long, long time, the people who were nominally representing the left have really been what is referred to as fiscally conservative, which is just for the modern progressive unacceptable. And I think we are looking at an amicable divorce. And the reason I talk about the potential so much on this show is that the things we do now will decide, when the power is divided, how much of it we get. I want to get most of it. I want progressives being the dominant political force in the 21st century. I think that is our last and best hope for fixing things that need to be fixed immediately. Either because if we fail to fix them, our shame will be great, or because if we fail to fix them, that's the game. That's it for humanity. So I want us to get the majority of the power. And I also want us to really understand the difference between the bad guys and the annoying guys. Democrats are the annoying guys. The people who believe that, black people ought to have X or Y awful thing done to them en masse. Those are the bad guys. Probably time for us to start making preparations for an amicable split. I would recommend donating to things like the DSA. I would recommend supporting in the primaries, in the upcoming primaries, the farthest left candidates you can find. And when you're looking at the behavior of folks that are calling themselves centrist, imagine that behavior with just another label, so to speak, and you will understand it for what it is. No labels, very useful for understanding where we are, and more importantly, where we're going to be soon. Let's see what y'all have to say.